Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Manish Mahajan, Senior Consultant Neurologist and Head of Neuroimmunology at Artemis Agrim Institute of Neurosciences. The estimated risk of developing multiple sclerosis is quite low, approximately 0.1% in the general population. However, the chronic nature of the illness makes this disorder highly prevalent. As per the Multiple Sclerosis International Federation Global Study of 2014, around 2.5 million people are affected with multiple sclerosis worldwide. MS is second only to trauma as a cause of neurological disability beginning in early to middle adulthood, that is 20 to 40 years of age. It involves females thrice as commonly as males. This implies that it hits an individual during her or his most productive phase of the life. There exists a complex interplay of environment and genetics in the genesis of MS, as highlighted by the twin studies and the migration studies. Presence of antibodies against Epstein-Barr virus, vitamin D deficiency, smoking and obesity has been found to be highly prevalent in people with MS. Dissemination of time and space, either established clinically or radiologically using a magnetic resonance imaging or MRI with gadolinium-based contrast, is the basis of the diagnosis of MS after the exclusion of other secondary causes of demyelination. There are few typical, albeit non-specific manifestations, including visual loss from one eye with pain on movement of the eye, and it's a common presenting symptom. There are others which include double vision, sensory loss, abdominal sensation, incoordination, weakness or stiffness of one or more limbs, imbalance while walking, urinary urgency or incontinence, fatigue that is out of proportion to the activity, mental fogging or diminished speed of processing of the information. So by definition, MS is a chronic primary CNS demyelinating disease with two predominant forms, the commoner being the relapsing remitting or the RRMS, that is in the 85% of the cases, and the progressive MS. Now in RRMS, a typical attack consists of an individual or a combination of presentations which develop over hours and last for at least 24 hours with a gradual, spontaneous, complete or incomplete resolution. This may be followed by a variable inter-attack interval with or without residual disability. This unpredictability and variability of the attack frequency and severity contributes to the heterogeneity of the MS and a significant management challenge. The progressive MS is characterized by the disability progression independent of the attacks. If this disability progression happens from the outset of the disease course, it is called as the primary progressive MS. On the other hand, if this happens after 1 or 2 decades into the course of RRMS, it is labeled as secondary progressive MS. So, the key to prevent disability is early diagnosis and effective control of inflammation with the use of disease-modifying therapy. There are 3 components of the long-term management of the most common form of MS, that is the RRMS. First is the treatment of an acute attack. Secondly, the prevention of a relapse and disability progression with the use of disease-modifying therapies, each one of them with a unique set of efficacy, cost, and side effect profile. Now, the decision of a disease-modifying agent is based upon the disease characteristics and the patient profile. Third is the treatment of the symptoms and physical rehabilitation. There is a need for more comprehensive multidisciplinary care of people with MS through dedicated MS clinics, where there is a scope of detailed assessment and discussion involving all the stakeholders about long-term management plans, including rehabilitation and psychological issues. However, the cost of this care is substantial and is further complicated as most of the people with MS must pay from their own pocket, in addition to at times loss of employment, resulting in poor compliance and huge treatment gaps. The ongoing COVID pandemic has affected the care of people with MS. However, there are certain solutions to that. Very importantly, there is no increased risk of COVID and its complications in people with MS irrespective of their treatment status. Barring few, most of the DMTs are considered safe in the COVID times. The currently available vaccines in India are both safe and effective in people with MS if timed properly as per the individual disease-modifying therapy. As the founder director of People for People with MS Foundation and the member of Neuroimmunology subsection of Indian Academy of Neurology, I would like to connect with people with MS on 30th May, the World MS Day, and call upon Indian people with MS to participate actively in their own care and the future research on MS. Thanks for a patient hearing.